For 15 minutes every 3 months, I look like I have my life together. That sentence starts in the middle of a thought I have all the time. It sounds a little like a joke, but it is not. It is my honest truth, the one I live with every single day. For that brief window of time sitting on the crinkly paper of an exam table, I am a neat summary of a person. I am a highlight reel. I am the curated, edited version of a much longer, much messier story. And I will make a promise to you right now. By the end of this, you will understand why that performance happens. You will see the movie that plays during the 89 days that my doctor never gets to see. The real story unfolds when no one is watching, and that is the story that truly needs to be told. Before any doctor's appointment, a switch flips inside of me. I move from my normal day-to-day mode into something I call alert mode. It is a conscious effort to present the best possible version of myself. I might eat healthier for a day or two leading up to the visit, hoping it gives me a little more energy or clarity. I make sure to rest more than usual, banking my strength so I can seem bright and engaged. I rehearse the lines in my head over and over again. I find myself saying them out loud in the quiet of my home, or in the privacy of my car, testing the words to see how they sound. I tell myself very specific things, like a director giving notes to an actor. Remember to say the leg thing first, then you can mention the brain fog. Don't get emotional. Keep it concise. Don't waste their time. It is a script I write and edit myself. I will even clean my house before I leave for the appointment, as if the doctor might somehow know if my kitchen sink was full of dishes. I choose clothes that say, I am capable and I have this under control. It is a costume for a very specific role, the good patient. This elaborate preparation is not about lying. It is a deeply ingrained habit, born from the necessity of fitting a very long, complicated story into a very short amount of time. It comes from a genuine desire not to waste the doctor's valuable time. I have a specific name for the final moments before I walk into the clinic. I call it the car rehearsal. I park my car, I turn off the engine and take a few deep breaths. I sit in the silence and say my list one last time. Right leg numbness, especially after sitting. Brain fog that feels like a heavy blanket, mostly in the afternoons. The deep, bone-weary tiredness after a simple trip to the grocery store. I check the tone of my voice. I try to keep it steady and calm. Factual and unemotional. I am preparing to deliver a report, not to share a feeling. It is my last chance to get the story straight. When I finally walk into the exam room, the doctor eventually comes in with a warm smile.
How have you been?
The most difficult part of this whole exchange is how small and simple the question is. There are so many minutes and hours of my life that no one ever sees. Not my family, not my friends, and certainly not my doctor. These are the moments that define the 89 days between appointments. I can spend a morning looking and acting like a completely healthy person. I can make breakfast for my family. I can sit at my computer and answer emails. I can even leave the house to run an errand, like going to the grocery store. I can come home with 2 shopping bags and a genuine smile on my face. Then 2 hours later, I am completely flattened on the couch, unable to move or think. My body feels like it has been borrowed by someone else who ran a marathon in it, and then it was returned to me with crucial parts missing or broken. There are long, silent afternoons when my only activity is watching a television show in small pieces. I lie down on the sofa during the commercial breaks, or even between scenes, just to conserve enough energy to follow the story. My neurologist has no idea how many entire seasons of Netflix I have watched completely horizontally, with my eyes half closed. That is a small joke, I tell myself, but it is also profoundly and exhaustively true. Then there are the recovery days. The physical symptoms are only one part of the story. The mind carries so much of the weight, too. I constantly track things in my head like a detective on a case that never closes. I try to remember exactly when a new symptom started or when an old one got worse. I compare how I feel today to how I felt 3 weeks ago, searching for patterns or clues. I think about my stress levels, wondering if I pushed myself too hard this month and caused a flare-up. It is a constant low-level hum of analysis that runs in the background of my thoughts all day, every day. At night, when the house is quiet, I find myself reading new medical studies or articles online. I ask Google small, worried questions at 2 in the morning, typing my fears into the search bar. Why does my leg tingle when I sit? Is it normal for brain fog to get worse in the evening? Sometimes the answers I find bring a small measure of comfort or a new idea to try. More often, they just make me feel more anxious and alone. This endless search for information is exhausting in its own right, a second job that I never applied for and cannot quit. I also spend a significant amount of time planning and strategizing. I make detailed lists of what I need to say to my doctor, practicing the phrases so they sound just right. There are so many things I hold back when I talk to my doctor. I do not want to be seen as the dramatic patient, the one who complains about every little ache and pain. I find myself constantly comparing my own situation to what I imagine are worst cases. Someone else definitely has it harder than I do. This probably isn't a big deal in the grand scheme of things. And so I minimize my own experience. I use words like a little bit, sometimes, when what I really mean is a lot, most days. This habit of minimizing is incredibly common among people living with chronic conditions. Many of us carry a strange sense of guilt about being sick. We feel like we should be stronger, more resilient. We think we should not complain so much. So what would actually help us bridge this gap between the 15-minute appointment and the 89-day reality? It is not about fancy. It is not about expensive tools. It is not about complicated systems. It is about small, simple, practical things that anyone can try. The most powerful tool I have found is a messy symptom journal. You can use a cheap notebook or the Notes app on your phone. Just write down short, simple notes. Tuesday, 3 p.m. Walked to the mailbox. Felt dizzy after. Lasted 10 minutes. Even a few words like that can help you and your doctor see a pattern over time. It is evidence from the field. Bring a short list of bullet points to your appointment. A concise list is often much more effective than a long, rambling speech. Think of it as a headline for each of your concerns. Leg numbness getting worse when I walk. Brain fog is worst on most days between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. Need more rest than I did 3 months ago. These clear, simple statements help the doctor quickly grasp the main issues and see the patterns you have been tracking. It is so important not to villainize our doctors in this story. The vast majority of doctors are dedicated, compassionate, trying their absolute best within a very challenging system. They are often overworked, dealing with immense time pressure and administrative burdens that we never see. They want to help. The problem is not that they do not care. The problem is that they cannot see everything. They are visitors in our lives, not permanent residents. They come in for a brief tour every 3 months and can only see what we choose to show them. If this helped you feel seen, tap subscribe and like so more people find it. New videos on life between appointments every week. Drop a comment with one thing you wish your doctor could see between visits. The big truth, when you boil it all down, is remarkably simple. Doctors see pictures, but we live the movie. The 15-minute appointment is a bright, tidy, well-composed photograph. The 89 days in between are the long, unedited film, shaky camera work, continuity errors, scenes with bad lighting. Both of these things matter. Both of them tell a piece of the story. The photograph provides a clear moment in time. The film provides essential context. The film provides the narrative. The film provides the emotional arc. So I will close with a gentle question. What happens in the 89 days for you? When the doctor walks in and asks that simple, enormous question, how have you been? I almost always say, pretty good, all things considered. I offer a small, reassuring smile. And in that moment, I feel a strange mix of pride and deceit. I feel proud that I can pull myself together so effectively. I feel safe because I am not presenting a problem that seems too big or too complicated to solve in a quarter of an hour. But this feeling is fleeting. I know, and a part of me wishes the doctor knew, that what they are seeing is just a single polished photograph from a very long and chaotic photo album. The doctor only gets a snapshot. It is a clear and well-lit picture, taken under the best possible conditions. The doctor sees 15 minutes of my life, polished and presented for review, is a long, winding, and sometimes blurry movie. My own change was small, but significant. I started to bring the film with me to my appointments. I did this by bringing short notes, just a few bullet points. I wrote down my worst days. I wrote down my best days. I told the unvarnished truth about exhaustion after grocery trips and the necessity of afternoon naps. I learned my honesty was not a burden, it was a gift. Sometimes the answer is not a new prescription or a dramatic intervention. Sometimes the most helpful thing is a small change in how we live. It might be a conversation about pacing and energy conservation. It might be a concrete plan for handling inevitable bad days. It might be a new way of scheduling my week to build in necessary rest. And sometimes, yes, it is a new medication. But the right solution comes when the problem is fully understood. The real work of managing a chronic illness is not done in the clinic. It is done in the quiet, unseen days in between. In the end, the most profound reveal, the real care happens in the life we live between appointments. That is where we struggle, where we adapt, and where we find small ways to keep going. If you have been reading and nodding along, please know you are not alone. If you felt a small laugh catch in your throat, followed by a familiar ache of recognition, that is okay. It means you also live in the vast, complicated space between. Share your story. Your small truth can help someone else feel less alone.